Welcome back to On The Whorizon Podcast, hosted by Jessie Sage and Melrose Michaels. First, thank you so much for becoming a premium subscriber and supporting our podcast. We hope that you enjoyed this exclusive unheard and unseen footage from each interview we have on the horizon. First, let's dive in with Siri Dahl.
On the topic of banking and financial discriminations, I'm curious, how has everything that's gone on with like Pornhub and OnlyFans impacted you and your business?
So the Pornhub losing their payment processing back in December 2020, that impacted me, but not as hugely as I think it could have, because I haven't, especially since I only just came out of retirement in 2020. This is like, I'd barely been back for a year. And I hadn't quite built up my Pornhub presence again yet. So like,
yeah,
I was doing sales for sure. I was doing about $2,000 of sales per month on Pornhub. So I lost all that. But
that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. Like that's rent and all utilities. Like that's my car payment plus my rent. Like, you know, that's a lot. Yeah. It's not a small amount. But it wasn't like, you know, the entirety of all of my income, because still the majority of my income at the time and currently now is from OnlyFans. So it was stressful in a way of like, oh, well, now I have to replace that amount every month. Right. But like, I didn't ever have a moment where I was like, oh shit, I'm going to go under. Like, this is financially devastating.
Right.
OnlyFans, however, the scare that we just had with that, I mean, literally 90% plus of my like monthly income is from OnlyFans. I very much depend on that. It's, you know, and I think I've had a lot of conversations with other performers about this more recently, especially about the, like, you know, we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. I never wanted to. Like, I've always been like, ooh, I really don't like all my money coming from this one fucking source that doesn't, like, you know, up until very recently didn't even acknowledge that sex workers are on the platform.
Yeah. Only to get rid of them.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. But also it's like, I can't control that OnlyFans is where all the traffic is, you know? So it's just been this whole struggle of being like, damn it, I don't want to have to depend on this one platform for everything. But like, that's where the fans are. That's where the money is. And I can't like force it to go somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, OnlyFans at this point is like a household name in ways that no other platform
That's really what they leverage, I think, is the brand awareness. And that's a trusted brand because people, it's almost that fine line. Like, you can subscribe to an OnlyFans creator and it might be a fitness model. It might be anything. It might be a comedian. Comedians and podcasts are big on OnlyFans as well now. Yeah. So it gives you that comfort of no one really knows what you're paying for. And almost that like cloak of, I'm not doing anything wrong for the people who really, you know, disagree with the morality standpoint of it all, which is crazy.
That's a really good point, Melrose. And it brings me back to being like, well, why did they shut down my checking account then when they just saw the deposits from OnlyFans? You know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, you could have been just a podcaster.
What if I'm just a fitness instructor? Like, and that's how I sell like premium access to my fitness classes on OnlyFans or something. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
Yes. Guilty until proven innocent, apparently.
So what, like, are you now like thinking about trying to diversify more? Or like, how are you thinking about things now that OnlyFans is like, oh, okay.
Just leaving us in suspense. We suspended the decision. Everyone be in suspense.
Yeah, I know. Suspended. That's the worst word. As I've told my fans, like, I'm maintaining my OnlyFans presence exactly the same now. Like, I'm not changing anything about it. I am letting all my fans and followers know, though, that I am now replicating all of my content that's already on OnlyFans onto two other sites, Loyal Fans and Fansly. Which kind of have, like, you know, more traffic. There's so many competitor sites now. It's so overwhelming. Yeah. But I kind of settled on those two because of payout percentages are comparable or higher in some cases. And they have a good amount of traffic. And also like just ease of use. Like I was like looking for sites that I thought my fans would be comfortable like using, because
there's something to that, like with the familiarity of like a fan that's used to an OnlyFans kind of forum, and then going to something like Fansly versus going to something like the typical porn membership site doesn't have that social media instant connection feel to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Other companies like tried to do that.
They do. I think it's hard to replicate. It comes down to that issue of user submitted content a lot of the time, because you can't control what content being sent to the creator. And then that is putting the platforms at risk. But I mean, that's a whole other tangent. But it seems like that social media model is what has really made OnlyFans successful, and what the fans really want is that realer connection, more in reach, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or with
I agree.
what they think.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, like, because you have such a longer career and then you took a break, is there a difference you've noticed with financial discrimination, or even just what we're facing currently from your first run in adult after your break? Is there any parallels, or would you consider that things have really changed?
I think it's actually, so it's weird. It's like this dichotomy where, because doing online sex work, like OnlyFans, basically has made it so accessible to like try, like to make a living doing online sex work. Not that everyone I don't want to imply that like, oh, you get on OnlyFans and you like immediately start making like tens of thousands of dollars. Like it's not like, it's a lot of work. Obviously we all know that, but like it has democratized the concept of being a sex worker a little more. Like it's a lot easier to just like sign up on a website, do all your verification stuff, and like start raking in some money. Which is great. I love it 100%. I'm very much in favor of like, let's normalize sex work. I think kind of the flip side of that is, because like Jessie, I think you said earlier, because OnlyFans is like a household name now, I do think that it puts people who are going to be against sex work no matter what, I think those type of people are a little more on high alert, like looking for us now, because so like I feel like generally it's like it's this weird thing where I feel like we have a little more cultural acceptance, but I feel like the pushback is also stronger against us than it used to be.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like it's more like a more concentrated, hateful pushback. And it used to just be kind of like these people doing porn. Like, you know?
I feel like that is also because like OnlyFans has really allowed sex work to bleed into the mainstream more than ever before. Like you have, big fitness influencers who maybe come onto OnlyFans under the fitness guise, but are releasing nudes or are putting out people content. So it's like it's made it more acceptable, and I think that's what's really irritating to the social norms of these kind of far right groups that really want to come after us. It's like you're making it okay, and that's what's threatening is that you're making it okay for more people to do this.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Normalize selling nudes.
Yeah.
They're very mad about it.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you think is important as we're like talking about this?
Yeah, because we did briefly touch on like Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. I think it's probably important to just remind listeners, especially sex workers listening, that all of those platforms strictly forbid using them to sell or receive funds for any type of adult anything at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to say I don't use those apps, but I am going to say that the username I use on those apps is nothing to do. It doesn't have my real name in it, obviously, because I don't want fans to see that. And it doesn't have it's kind of like the bank account thing. I don't use my stage name. I don't use my real name. It is just a random fucking username that, like, honestly, no one would really guess.
Yeah.
And also, I am very clear about, like, hey, leave that notes field as vague as possible, please. Like, everyone just keeps sending me money for pizza. I have so many friends reimbursing me for the pizza I bought them on Venmo.
Good friends to have.
I tend to like tell people not to send the same amount over and over again. That seems very suspicious to me.
Yeah.
And I worry about that, especially if I have like people who are paying for like a certain amount of time for something and it's like a price. They try to like
vary the transaction amounts.
Yeah. It seems a bit suspicious that like everybody gives you $37 for pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so funny. I gotta tell my powerlifting coach, because he charges the same monthly amount to all his clients, and I'm like, oh shit, what if his account gets shut down? Because Venmo's like, oh no, oh wait, but
only if he starts an OnlyFans.
Yeah. he's just like a 6'5", like 300-pound giant man, which is probably the only thing protecting him from that discrimination. Is he'll look at his little like avatar photo and be like, eh.
Yeah.
Next, let's take a look behind the scenes of our interview with Maiia.
I remember when I first started camming, and I had this idea in my head that was so naive and so stupid that like, well, not everyone has to be like totally professional. You could kind of have a side hustle. And then at some point I was like, there's no such thing as a side hustle. You do this or you don't do it, because like otherwise it's not worth it, because it takes over your whole life.
Yeah, that's true. Especially in the online forum. Yeah.
Yeah, it just does. Like, and unless you want it to be your life, like you don't have a choice about it. After some point, you don't have a choice about it.
I think it comes down to too, like the level of honesty and comfort that you have within your own circle of people too. Like, my best friend and wife and whatever, like so many things to me as in my life, also a full-time cam model, Amanda Rocks. I lived with her for almost 2 years during pandemic, during post, like for the purpose of like, I needed somewhere to go at first when I was like, hey, I'm getting divorced.
Yeah.
And the gift it is to live around other people who are like so down and understanding and like accepting and open and whatever. Like I really could just be like, so I'm having this really intimate problem. Can I like, you know, like you can't do that necessarily with everyone. So when it comes to telling the truth to your family, I mean, I'm out. There's no one that I really care about. Like if they found out, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like what?
Yeah.
You know, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird that you came to show me the porn that you watch, but okay, here we are. And so like, you know, for me, I'm like any person that comes into my life as like a partner, I'm like, okay, but you want me to like make relationships with these people, but you want me to start out on a lie when I'm comfortable with who I am and what I do. Right. So it's a really tricky situation to be in. So I think that, you know, well, are you open enough with your mom that you can talk to her about dildos? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know your story, but
yeah.
I hope so.
Interesting life.
I want to, when you mentioned the inner circle of like people like having that support system, do you find yourself educating your inner circle of like immediate people, friends, family about the payment processing piece at all? Like is it where you ever find yourself like explaining this, like this is why this affects us, even though they're supportive and they understand your career choices, maybe they don't get the nuance to the actual issues in terms of legislation and policy and activism and all these pieces. Do you ever see that?
I do. I see people make like almost, they seem snarky to me. Comments, because like they see like the skit on Saturday Night Live with the chicks and, you know, they're in the trailer park and they're eating pickles. It's like an ASMR joke or whatever. Okay. And like, yeah, that's funny and that's relatable and that's great. But like also there's an element to us where we are actual business people and we're really intelligent humans. And like, you want to have a conversation with us, we'll sit down because I'm going to like start listing off your congressmen and shit. So, you know, it gets intense. I can't talk about it without being an intense person about it. And I think it's too intense for people. Like, you know, I think it was an obstacle in a former relationship for me because I'd be like, oh yeah, this guy is falling, this thing is happening. And they're like, okay, but like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, yes, it is, because it's unjust.
Yes.
Unfair. It's fundamentally fucked up.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's also our lives, and it's how we make money. And like, we actually, like, as a stigmatized population, like, can't afford to be nonchalant about this stuff.
We can't. We absolutely cannot. And at the end of the day, for me, I look and I'm like, who are the people who are most affected by this? And it's always the lowest earners who are most aggressively affected by these policies. And it's not even necessarily just in sex work. It is affecting us a lot, especially because we want to keep our privacy and our identity secure, which is a whole nother element to the thing.
Yeah.
But like, you want anybody to work and do labor, and then like people for some reason who aren't allowed to have bank accounts, and they get a physical check on every other Thursday and bring it to like the cash,
the currency exchange. Yeah.
Like, I honestly, no frame of reference for this, have never done it once in my whole life. So because from like literally elementary school, we had like a savings account and like a mascot that came and like deposit 25 cents and like show us how banking worked. And even that, I think it comes for me all the way back to education. I'm like, education failed a lot of people. And because education failed a lot of people, we don't have wide frames of reference for how other people live their lives.
Yeah.
And so those like blinders on by like our vanilla friends, and why we try to have these intelligent conversations with them, and they're like, wow, that's intense. I'm going to just go back to like, you know, filing paperwork at the dentist's office and like not worry about all that. That sounds like a whole lot. You have fun with that. Like, thanks for the support, friends.
Yeah. It's funny how everyone, like, they'll be actively involved or participate in a conversation about, you know, workers' rights or women's rights or, you know, immigration or all these other issues. And then it's like, sex workers as laborers? What? That's a hard concept. How do we talk about that? Nah, not today. I'm busy. It doesn't make sense. Can't comprehend. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's because that comes down to morality. Whenever you give someone the option to include their own moral opinion in any conversation, that's where we go astray. And I think why we don't get a lot accomplished policy-wise, because I'm like a scientist, like, show me the stats, show me the science, show me the facts of the things.
Where's the evidence for this?
You know, and that's why, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, this is why my projects, I keep talking about them and I'm not really releasing them, because I won't do it until it sends the message that I want it to say. And that is that this line of work is not only valid and difficult in its own rights and requires its own skill sets, but it is made more difficult by everyone trying to like make us illegitimate. And that's not fair. It's not fair, because you consume the labor at the end of the day. Everybody does on some level. So, you know.
So I always end up telling people, like, if you didn't watch porn, we wouldn't be here. Like, so if you really want to do something about it, you could just eliminate the market, but I don't see that happening. Like, so we're here now. Let's deal with it.
Yeah. We've been here for man. We've always been here. We've always been here. I'm not even gonna like start on the like a religion tangent, but like people who try and throw the Bible at us, I'm like, you haven't read it, so just stop. Just stop. I did, and we've always been here.
There are prostitutes in the Bible.
Yeah.
There absolutely are. And just all of it, just the whole thing is just.
Yeah. So what is your book going to be?
So my book is called The Cam Girl Experience. And so my podcast will similarly be titled, but I do want to drop the girl part of it. My book, I feel like, is important because that really is my identity, was Cam Girl. But, you know, in the spirit of inclusivity and bringing all of us into that conversation, there are Cam people. We're Cam people. You know, we're everyone. And I think that's really important to give that platform and that opportunity for everybody who's done this work to tell their story and their experiences. So that's kind of what I'm doing. But again, I'm like a bit of a perfectionist, and I just won't like launch whatever I'm doing until I'm really, really able to do it. And I bought a house, so I've been renovating my house. And
that's what you said.
Every time I like start, I was like gonna come back, and I was like ready to like really dive into a new schedule. And I found a leak in my kitchen, which was like a whole can of worms. And I just finished it yesterday. I finished tiling my kitchen. So I'm like, I can porn again.
You could do it in the kitchen.
Yes.
I could. I actually did a whole series while I've been renovating called Dirty DIY.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where I just made content like on a day when I was already like ripping up the floor or whatever. Before I'd really dig into it, I'd just film a video, and
that's
so
awesome.
that kind of stuff will be coming out. I'm excited about it. I feel like it's a luxury to be in a space in my career where I'm like, this is what I can do today, and everything else, sorry about you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Look outside or inside or wherever. And like, I prioritized cam stuff way too much when I was full-time streaming, and now I'm just in such a different place that it's really a luxury, and it's wonderful to build just like piece by piece, like this is the thing I want here, and cool, and that feels really good. So that's where I'm at, and maybe it's quiet, maybe it's loud. I don't really know. I'm fine. I'm just tweeting. I'm just angry tweeting.
I think that's what I do full time. I'm pretty sure that's my full time job is tweeting.
An extension of being a writer.
Shadow banned, so I'm just yelling at no one. Really.
Into the void.
I am too. I don't think I've picked up a follower in like a month.
Private Twitter is where it's at for me right now. My private Twitter is like dirty and horny and getting all the it's doing it for me. And there's like no followers there really. It's just my people,
in private, because I need to follow that.
Yeah.
You should look it up. You should look it up.
Last but not least, let's listen to the exclusive from our chat with Stephanie.
Yeah, I wasn't following the GameStop event when that happened. However, that does lead me to talk about how that might be off topic, but yeah, just how, like with Robinhood, I'm not the biggest fan of Robinhood, and just because if you have your assets on Robinhood, you can only sell it. You can't move it out into a wallet.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, that means that you don't own it. Because if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. So, meaning just, meaning, whereas like somewhere like crypto.com or Coinbase, you don't want to keep it on the exchange because it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. Pretty much Coinbase, crypto.com, they have a big wallet, and that's what the exchange is. So when you buy a cryptocurrency from one of these exchanges, it's smart to move it to a wallet, whether that's online on your desktop or in your phone, or to a cold wallet, which there are like some that are well known, like Ledger.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm familiar with both what you're talking about because I usually work with Coinbase in terms of my cryptocurrency. But with Robinhood, I got into Robinhood for just regular like stock investing to play and like try to fucking learn because I don't know shit about shit. But one of the things that happened was like I think Robinhood, you can do some stuff with crypto, but you can't cash out. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. You can sell it, I believe, but like what I'm saying is you can't
move it to a wallet.
To a wallet. Yeah, you can't.
And I found that out the hard way because I'm like, so I have to sell this. I can't just move it. Like I can't get my Robinhood stuff into my Coinbase, which is stupid. Yeah. And I can't get either into, I have to put it to a wallet. So it's almost like just phenomenal marketing. Like join our platform, use our service. Oh, and you're stuck here. Like, by the way. So get comfortable.
Right. And that's like, and they execute their power. Like with that whole GameStop event, I believe they froze people's accounts. Like people weren't able to.
Robinhood's like whole mantra, like their theme of them coming into the space with their platform was that we're like Robinhood, we're for the democratization of money and we're for the people and all of this kind of philosophy. But then the whole GameStop scenario is like people got together on Reddit and we're talking about everyone buy into GameStop or AMC was another one, I guess, that they raised the stock value. And then they all decide as a community when to cash out and pull out their money, which is something that like
hedge fund people do all the time, and it's completely legal. But then when like people do it, it's not okay. And Robinhood was the first person or the biggest platform to be like, oh no, we're going to stop trading. You can't sell. And like that goes against literally everything they stood for. So it was such almost like a power move or like a chokehold, I guess is the way of phrasing it. But yeah, they completely contradicted everything that they said that they stood for, and it's left everyone with a bad taste in their mouth for sure. And that's very similar to like a rug pull, what you're saying. You pump up a stock and then cash out, but crypto's much less regulated.
That's what I was just about to. You were just took the words from my mouth, because you reminded me of how right now on the stock exchange there are, like, if you do a rug pull or a pump and dump on the stock exchange, you go to prison. But here in the crypto world, it's still the wild, wild west, because we don't have regulatory clarity. That's the term that crypto people use a lot. Like, we want, I don't know. If I don't know if we want it or if it would help
it or
but yeah, right now you can get away with so much that you can't get away with on the stock exchange, because if you do that, if you do an ICO on stock exchange and then you just fail, like it's and then it was pre-planned and that's how you wanted it to go, you're gonna go to prison.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it kind of is a reflection almost, because we've been talking to so many guests for the podcast this weekend. And one of the things that comes up is, in terms of like decrim for sex work, for example, we're pushing for decrim and we want that. But then at the same time, if you decriminalize something, regulation comes in. So it's almost a reflection of the same exact.
If you legalize it.
The same exact thing.
Yeah. That's the question. Like, do we want that?
Yeah.
We don't, I don't know. What do we want?
Absolutely. So now that we understand kind of like the pump and dump schemes, and we've spoken about how there are some predatory, companies trying to slide into the adult space, is there anything that comes to mind to you of like what to look for if a company is going to be rug pulling or pump and dumping, or are there any things like red flags that we can establish for safety?
Yeah. Big ones. Yeah, there's some clear ones. And every freaking project that I look at that are trying to attract sex workers, every project is, there's a classic pump and dump chart pattern.
Okay.
So like if you trade crypto or you just look at the charts of crypto, I go to, CoinGecko.com. There's also CoinMarketCap.com. And this is a place where you can get information on cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
So I have it like constantly on my computer. Like it's something I look at all the time. If I hear about a new project, I just go straight to CoinGecko. I type in the name of the project. I look at everything they have there. And some of the main things that you want to look at is like the trading volume of the project. You want to make sure it's substantial, because you want to be like, you want to see people are putting their money in it, and like a good bit of people. Like if you look at Bitcoin, it's going to be in the millions, billions, billions most likely. So then I look at all-time high, I look at all-time low prices just to see like where would be a good place to buy. So just the rule of thumb, when you're buying crypto, buy low, sell high. Do not buy when everybody's telling you to buy. Like when it's on a bull run and the price is going to like 60,000, 70,000 of Bitcoin, don't go buy crypto. Don't go buy Bitcoin, and probably not even any other projects, because when Bitcoin does a bull run, all the other cryptos tend to go along with it. There's only a few projects that they call it like decoupled. So it's not, they like run in a different, they run at a different, they might go after Bitcoin. on their bull run. But so yeah, but then also a big huge part of cryptocurrency is the community. So make sure that you follow the Twitter, the follow the social media of like the people who founded the project. You want to look at who founded the project. You want to make sure that those people like know what they're doing, that they and so like I don't really know any projects that are really saying that they're for sex workers right now that have the data or the track record, or even like they just don't measure up.
So what do you think about Spank Chain?
I only know what I have heard from sex workers themselves. I have a podcast named Rez Hoe Crypto and Sex Work Show. You can access it at crypto and sexworkshow.com. And we have a episode where I interviewed two pretty cool sex workers, Jem Stoned and Ali Awesome. And both have been in the space of sex work and crypto for a good while. So they know what they're doing. They know what to look for. And some of them, I think both of them have worked with a lot of these projects and had very bad experiences. So now they do not recommend a lot of these projects to work with.
And this is something that I wonder a lot about, because the conversation around crypto is so it's nuanced, right? There's a lot of different things happening. You've got, cryptocurrency, you've got NFTs, you've got these different capacities to kind of weave in and out of. But one of the things that strikes me is like, okay, if I am selling content on crypto and someone buys a custom video for what's the equivalent of $300 in some type of crypto. And then I produce the video and I give it to them, and then they exchange and I get the crypto. And then I wake up the next day and the crypto value has tanked. Yeah. Because of the volatility of something like cryptocurrency. Is that a fear that you think about in the way that crypto works with adults, or not really?
So that's the thing with crypto. You have a very volatile like prices, but but to me, there's a term like called hodl. But I mean, if you need that cash, like, and you need it to live off of, then there's also stable coins. And that's what a lot of crypto people do is if their crypto goes up in price, then they'll exchange it or trade it for a stable coin, which stable coins tend to just stay at the price of $1. So like it'll get to that level, then you trade it over to something that's going to stay stagnant. So a stable coin. And then the only thing with that is, like, especially in America, when you exchange cryptos, it's a taxable event. And, especially if it isn't under a year and a day. So, so it's just like, but you would just have to report it.
Okay.
And anytime you cash out, anytime you cash out, I really, really cut back on cashing out this year, because last year I just cashed out so much, but that's a taxable event as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything in terms of cryptocurrency and sex work that we didn't cover that you think is important that I may have missed?
Yeah, there are online places to help you with your crypto taxes. I can't think of any of the names right now, but you could just look online, like crypto taxes or something. Yeah. There you can like input like your exchanges, or if you just know how much crypto you have, and like if you're that kind of person who keeps everything. I have a friend who she keeps everything she buys and everything she holds. Like she has it all on Excel spreadsheets and stuff. So that's a good way to be. But yeah, I would say, keep track of your crypto and do your taxes on it, because, They really are like trying, the government, you know, they really are trying to come on to crypto in a way. And like if you are moving a lot of crypto, they have pulled people's accounts from Coinbase or, you know, some big exchanges. So just make sure you got your T's crossed and your I's dotted.
We hope you enjoyed the bonus footage from this episode of On the Horizon, and we look forward to having you tune in next time.